This Adabox takes its inspiration from our childhood, spending weekends with computers like the Apple II, 286 PC, ZX Spectrum, C64, Mac Plus, and the TRS-80. These machines plugged into a TV and blazed our eyes with 8-bit glory as we played games, typed programs from magazines, and patiently waited our turn as siblings and friends loaded the latest programs from cartridges and floppies. We didn't mind too much the constrained memory, simplistic graphics, and bleepy tunes. It was amazing to have a self-contained electronic wonderland that could do almost anything. We turned such wistful recollections into a new design we call the Fruit Jam. Inspired by the Ichigo Jam DIY computer kit, this credit card-sized computer can drive an HDMI monitor and mini speaker, with USB keyboard and mouse for input. But instead of running Mac or Windows or Linux, it's directly programmable like a microcontroller. This makes it easy to write your own games or apps with powerful interpreted Python scripts that live on the built-in 16 megs of flash disk. No complex APIs or compilers required. Use Fruit Jam OS to launch downloadable apps, including a mini text editor for writing your own programs and an IRC client for chatting with other Fruit Jam fans. As always, we thank DigiKey for their unending support. This year has been a roller coaster with managing tariffs and inventory, and DigiKey has been rock solid in their support and sourcing capabilities. Last but not least, we thank all our Adabox subscribers. Your patience is appreciated as we navigate the never-boring times in manufacturing open-source hardware. We're really excited to have you try all the great projects we've designed for the Fruit Jam. Then, visit adafruit-playground.com to check out and join in on community-contributed projects and code. Adabox 22. Fruit Jam. Hi, I'm John Park, and I want to welcome you to the Adabox 22 unboxing. We at Adafruit thank you for being a part of our community. If you're a subscriber, we hope you've received your Adabox in the mail by now and can join along as we unbox this together. This Adabox would not have been possible without the support of DigiKey. Thanks, DigiKey. Now, let's dig into Adabox 22 and take a look at what's inside. We'll open up the shipping box. Not everything fit inside the actual Adabox, and pull out a couple of items: the wired keyboard and the Adabox itself. I'm going to slide off the box's die-cut slip cover, and we'll see the content sheet. This lists the contents of the Adabox right here, and it includes a coupon code for a future purchase at Adafruit. It also links to the Fruit Jam Learn Guide, project links, and more. Now, we'll unbox this thing and see what's inside, lay out the contents, and then have a closer look. Inside, we see a gamepad style controller, a wired mouse, the keyboard that we mentioned before, and the Fruit Jam box of goodies. All right, packed within the little Fruit Jam box, we have a neat little bundle that contains the Fruit Jam and some little extras. So let's start off with the Fruit Jam itself. This right here is A DIY mini computer with an RP2350B microcontroller, 16 megabytes of flash, and 8 megs of PS RAM. It has DVI video out, digital I2S audio via speaker or headphones, 2 USB-A host ports, micro SD card storage, a Wi-Fi coprocessor, an infrared receiver, 3 buttons, 5 NeoPixels, and extra GPIO pins available on this 2x16 header. We'll talk more in detail about what we can do with it in a moment. Also in the bag, we have the protective top plate for the fruit jam, hardware consisting of 3 screws, a small 8-ohm speaker, and some little protective bumper feet to go on the bottom of the fruit jam so it doesn't skid around on your desk. Okay, so that's what comes in the box. We have the fruit jam with the protective top plate and hardware kit, the mini 8-ohm speaker, USB keyboard and mouse, and the USB gamepad. Next, let's assemble the fruit jam so we can get it ready for use. You can use the fruit jam on its own as is, but these are some nice extras to assemble. The first step in assembly is to remove the protective film from these 3 threaded standoffs. I like to just use a semi-blunt, pointy thing like these long tweezers to press these out from the back side and then peel them off, and they get stuck to you and your clothes, and you'll find them all over the place. There's no good strategy for that. There we go. That's the 3 of those off of there. And next thing you'll do, oh, look, there we go. Next thing we'll do is connect the oval speaker. You're gonna remove this little cover that's on the speaker connector. You don't need that anymore. And then this only goes in one way. You can line up the 2 little bumps with the connector and press that in, like so. And then you can either peel off this little adhesive and stick the speaker down on the board, but there's some chips in the way there. So one thing I like to do is peel, set this where it fits, and then take the cover and press that down and essentially connect the speaker to the cover, which actually gives you a kind of nice little resonator. So if we press that down and then lift up like this, you can see we've hit the spacing perfectly, and now we've got that adhered nicely. Okay, the next thing we can do now is screw that in place with the provided M3 screws. And you'll notice there is one spot there that will have no standoff, just didn't fit given the coprocessor chip. You won't want to crank these down too tight if you put the speaker in its sort of traditional orientation that's shown in the Learn Guide. There's just a little bit of wire that gets in the way, but I've noticed if you adhere the board to the underside of the faceplate, then you've got no gap there. You can screw it down all the way. Okay, there we go. And then the last thing to do is to stick the little bumper feet to the underside. So make sure that this is clean and free of any fingerprints and oils, and then just peel off and press down the 4 little bumpers. I like to give myself a little bit of space from the sides there. You don't have to worry about it too much though. Okay, and with that, your fruit jam is ready to go. We'll look at some other programs and emulators during the live stream, but right now, let's play the game that ships on the fruit jam, the 1993 shareware version of Doom. You can use most any HDMI-capable TV or monitor, from little desktop ones to full-sized one hanging on your living room wall. Plug in the fruit jam over power using a USB-C cable. Then plug in the USB mouse and keyboard. Alternately, you can play Doom with the gamepad, but that just seems a little wrong to me. So we're going to play it the way it was meant to be played, with keyboard and mouse. Then you're going to plug in an HDMI cable to your monitor. And you can optionally plug in a 3.5mm TRS jack for stereo sound. I'll turn on the monitor and then power up the fruit jam by flipping the little on-off switch. Here's a recap of what came in the box. We have the fruit jam, along with its faceplate and hardware kit, mini 8-ohm speaker also inside, the USB keyboard, USB mouse, and USB gamepad. That has been our unboxing of Adabox 22, and a bit of an intro into the fruit jam. I'm excited to see what you come up with for yours, so please share on Show and Tell, Discord, forums, and on the Adafruit Playground. Next, we'll switch over to the live section of tonight's show so I can share with you a bunch of great software, emulator, game, and other demos, including code created by Adafruit folks and members of the community. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park. Hey, hello, and welcome to the unboxing. It's me, Doom Guy, John Park. I'm so excited that we have made it to the unboxing of Adabox 22. Oh my gosh, I'm really thrilled to see in the chat people have been receiving their Adaboxes, including, I think, Gordy G received theirs an hour ago, so really great timing. And I would also love to say that you may have not received yours yet. We had started about 2-3 weeks ago shipping these out towards the end of November, or sending out the emails to subscribers, and that process has changed since the last time we did an Adabox in 2024. So hopefully those things go as smoothly as possible, and more of you who have subscribed to that have gotten those in the mail. So let's see. First of all, this thing right here, this is the fruit jam. And I have to say, this must be one of the most popular products that we've put out that has been a Adabox, because the amount of software that has been created, the amount of excitement around creating games and applications and demonstrations and code for this by both Adafruit people and the community has been tremendous. I think people are really excited about having a 8-bit era style computing experience, a 1970s, 80s style computing experience where you have a simple machine with very low overhead. It turns on and powers up instantly, and you can get to coding for it. So it's been really neat to see the amount of love so far for the fruit jam. So thanks for all that you're doing, not only to use the thing and buy the thing, but also to contribute to it and share. So that's been really exciting. So what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about some of the details on the Fruit Jam, starting with the Learn Guide. So let me bring up my browser here. If you head on over to, you can go to adafruit.com/Adabox22. That'll get you pretty close. You can also just look for Adabox22 in the Learn Guides. We have a few ways to get there. And I'm going to bring up my browser so I can see this a little better right now. This right here is the main guide. So we have a little introduction page, and then we have an unboxing page. A little notice about this very unboxing that's happening right now. And there you'll see there's the contents laid out that I just went over in the unboxing video with the details about the parts. And then we'll go on to a little page on Fruit Jam assembly, so that I'll give you some more details on putting together that Fruit Jam. I believe I did it the sort of traditional way, which was sticker side down. But if you watch the video there, I kind of have settled on this new way of connecting that speaker, which is loud. I have to tell you, I'll demonstrate it in a bit. It is a pretty great resonator board to have the speaker right on that fiberglass faceplate. So this next thing we have here is just there's a separate guide on Doom for the Fruit Jam, but this is just the specifics of, hey, you got your Adabox, you want to open it up and play, this is what you do. So it's the steps that I went through there, just of what kind of monitor will likely work. So you'll bring some kind of a DVI, HDMI monitor to the table. Some of the ones like that little one that I have on my bench we sell, but a lot of times you can find these for free. You can find them in your closet, your attic. You can go on to Buy Nothing groups on your social media and look for them. Find them on the side of the road. You'll need an HDMI cable as well as a USB-C power cable of some kind. Again, these are probably things that you have and were not included in the box. Power supply. Current draw is fairly low on the Fruit Jam, just running normal sort of HDMI stuff. I think I clocked it at 0.3 amps playing Doom, something like that, a little less, 1 point something to 0.3, 0.1 to 0.3. Connect up your HDMI, connect up your power, plug in the keyboard and mouse. I always plug in the mouse, the keyboard on the left, mouse on the right. I don't think it would make a difference, but that just seems like the right way to do that. And then off you go, power it up. We have a little bit of instruction here on the controls. Again, there are more details in the main guide, and there's a little video there. I disparaged the controller, but you can definitely play it with the controller. It's just movement and look are kind of on the D-pad, so it's not quite as much control as you have with keyboard and mouse. But you can definitely play it with the gamepad there. All right, and then the next section we have here is on computer emulators. So on the left, you can actually twirl down this section, and I won't go over all of these in detail, but I will demonstrate some of them in a moment. We have a whole pile of computer emulators. So there is a Mac emulator that emulates Mac Classic. I think Mac OS 6 maybe? I can't remember which one is on there. We'll look at it in a moment. There's a nice guide on building a Mac Classic case right there from the Ruiz brothers, which is gorgeous looking, little mini Mac, and it'll run your Mac emulator. There's an Apple II emulator, which I have got powered up back here. We'll take a look at in a bit. And then there's a multi-emulator, this one called Run CPM. Sorry, this one is a CPM emulator. The multi-emulator is this MCUME emulator on the Fruit Jam. This one allows you to run a Commodore 64 emulator, a Game Boy emulator, and I think one other. And in most of these cases, you'll just have instructions for putting together your SD card in a certain way with a certain folder and the data files that you want to run. In this case, these trick the Commodore into thinking it has a floppy disk in it. I think you load the file that you've picked with the little selector and then off and running. And there is an Intel 286 emulator on Fruit Jam that Ann Barella and Tim C. got together on. So thanks for putting that together. And there are more. These are the ones that we had full guides on that were ready to go to put into here, but I know there are some others that people are working on or have worked on out there. And one of the nice things is that the Fruit Jam is very much in the Pico 2 realm, the RP2350, people like porting things to the RP2350. It's got the juice. It has the power. So there's a good chance that if you find an emulator out there, it'll be possible to port that over to Fruit Jam. And then we have a few game console emulators here. I'm going to do a third guide on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color, which is one emulator. But we have this NES emulator that Frank Hodemacher's put together, and that will run Nintendo Entertainment System games. And then we have also from Frank, the Sega Genesis emulator, which is really terrific. And I have actually a fun little demo I'll throw on there in a minute with the Genesis, something that just came out actually, believe it or not, or just became available. And then after we tire of emulators, we can move on to games. So Doom, straight up, it's not a particular emulator. It's been ported to this architecture. It's not trying to emulate a Windows machine running Doom or a DOS machine. There is the wonderful Z Machine Dan Coliano put together. Thank you so much. I'm so excited about this. I played particularly Doom 2 a lot on my Apple IIe computer growing up. So I'm excited to put together a little Zork machine that is just keyboard, Fruit Jam, monitor. That's it. All it does is play Zork. You got no other distractions, which is pretty cool. There is the Larzio Paint music program that I put together, which is a homage to the step sequencer, the music sequencer part of Mario Paint for Super Nintendo. There are a slew of games here that Tim put together. So there is the Spell Jam app, which is a spelling application that uses a connection to an online polytranslate to be able to turn words into MP3 files. And you'll want to go check that out and some demos on that. There's Chips Challenge, which is a really cool sort of logic puzzle game. Also, sorry, this one that Melissa LeBlanc-Williams put together. We have the Logic Gate Simulator, which was another puzzle game that Tim put together. Simulates logic of a circuit. There is a tile matching game, also from Melissa. Minesweeper that Melissa put together. Melissa was busy with a lot of these really fun, addictive games. Match 3, sort of a card matching game, concentration style game from Tim. Snake Game, also from Tim. If you had a Nokia, you know. The Memory Game, also from Tim, so a card flipping game. And the Flappy Nyan Cat. So those are some of the sort of standalone games. Actually, not sure which, if many of those I believe are CircuitPython. Some might not be. But something I didn't really make a lot about is that you can run these emulators. You can run Arduino. You can run CircuitPython. So you have a lot of options with the Fruit Jam, and there may be other platforms and encoding languages available in the future. And then also in this software section, we have things that are not really classified as any particular game or that sort of thing. We have the Fruit Jam video music, which I'll show a little demo of, from Liz, which is similar to Atari's color organ. So it's a music visualizer. It's really cool. This Fruit Jam Chiron that Tim and I put together, which allows you to do overlays with a chroma key, and I use that every week on my product pick show in order to show the live data using the ESP32C6 that's built on board to the Fruit Jam to go grab data in every 12 seconds. I say, all right, what's the stock look like, and what's the name, what's the price, what's the description. We have an IRC client, and I believe that Tim is manning that chat. So if you got yours early and decided you were going to run an IRC client on your Fruit Jam, keyboard, mouse, display, Fruit Jam, Wi-Fi connection, ticka, 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 you're on IRC, the original chat room. So that's pretty cool. Go check that out. There is a pixel-fed photo viewer that Tim put together. Tim, MVP for writing code for the Fruit Jam, did so many things, including the Fruit Jam OS, which I don't know if I have a link or if I've missed it here, and I'll add it to this. But one of the things you'll see in the main Fruit Jam guide, I believe, is a link to the Fruit Jam OS, which is an operating system in the sense that it will allow you to pick from applications, software, games, many of the ones you've seen already, and launch those from within the fruit jam itself. So that's a really neat one. The startup screens is a little bit of a deeper dive into the nuts and bolts of creating startup screen animation on the fruit jam that Tim put together. And I'll show that. Actually, you may have seen that at the end of the video before. Then in the playground section, so those are all Adafruit Learn Guides, we have tons and tons of projects that people have made out in the community and then put their code up on Adafruit Playground so that people can share and learn and add to. So Sam Blenny did a bunch. I'm actually going to demonstrate this one live. There's the Fruit Jam portable MIDI synthesizer, which allows the Fruit Jam to be a USB MIDI host, so you can plug in a commercially available keyboard like this Keith McMillan keyboard here. This is a mobile setup, so Sam has a battery pack on there and headphones, but you can also plug it into your wall adapter over USB-C and some powered speakers, which is what I'll show. But it's a full-blown square wave synthesizer running right on the Fruit Jam. Polyphonic, allows you to play multiple notes at once. And then Cooper, Relic SE, has a number of really neat games and projects running on Fruit Jam, including Speed Dating, I think Fruit Jam Tetris also, and I may be missing some. I'm jumping around and out of order here for those. Some others from Sam Blenny include a gamepad tester, which is great. Allows you to plug this into HDMI, plug in a game controller, and take a look at which buttons are what and if it's working, which is really nice if you're doing some DIY stuff. And a 2 gamepad demo here, showing two gamepads plugged in. Again, a nice thing when you're doing development to see what does the Fruit Jam see the gamepads as. And a USB host MIDI tester. Again, super helpful if you're doing any music stuff, MIDI stuff, really popular in CircuitPython. This allows you to have a little Fruit Jam station plugged into a display, plug in your keyboard or other MIDI controller, and see what kind of messages you're getting from notes, which are displayed beautifully there on the piano roll, as well as CC messages on the bottom left and some of the identifier info on the bottom right. So great job, Sam, on that. Also a color checker from Sam, a color gradient generator. So these are really nice sort of utilities, and they all contain CircuitPython code to let you run it yourself and also peek behind the curtain and see how these work. We have screensaver from Sam, line screensaver, a hypotricodial, I don't know how to say that, spiral maker, that. Also from Sam, TTS engine for the Fruit Jam by Retired Wizard, which I believe was part of how the Speak and Spell that Tim put together works. So this is some of the nitty-gritty on that. This one I'll demonstrate too. This is really neat. This is one that I believe I'm going to pronounce Dana K. Could be Dan Ack, I don't know, but Dana K. So far, a somewhat underutilized feature of the Fruit Jam. It has an infrared receiver on there. So if you want to make your own, I don't know, GIF-based TV station on here and flip the channels with your remote, you can take a look at this guide on how to, in CircuitPython, talk to that IR receiver with your remote and then do stuff based on it. And I mentioned the Fruit Jam Tetris, also PyBoom from Flabio. An Atari 2600 style game, Kaboom style game. And then the last few things we have on here, using a keyboard with USB host. So these are, again, more of these nice details on, you want to pick this thing up, you want to code for it, you want to add keyboard support to your program. This will tell you how, actually both in CircuitPython and in Arduino. So thanks, Tim, for putting that together. And on a similar note, we have using a mouse with USB host from Tim, and using the SNES-like controller. This is the one that comes with it. So you have ABXY, a D-pad, a start, a select, and 2 shoulder buttons. So how do you incorporate that into your code? That guide will show you how. And put together this using DVI video in CircuitPython, which is really helpful, goes into a lot of the details about pixel dimensions, pixel doubling, resolutions, that you can talk to modern monitors with. Modern monitors have certain things like 640, 480 minimums, or 800, 600, depends. You'll find some that only want widescreen. So all of these details are covered in this guide, and both a font discussion using a CircuitPython terminal. One of the really nice things is you can plug this in. If you're running CircuitPython, plug in an HDMI monitor. With no code added, you will see your REPL show up. So if you just wipe your Fruit Jam, put on CircuitPython, plug in a display, you will see hello world the next time you start it up with the default code.py. So it is so similar in those ways to something like your TRS-80, your Spectrum, your TI, your Apple, your you name it, because it just boots. Okay, let's see what else. That covers the guides and some accessories I wanted to mention. Let me jump over to, let's go over to the bench here actually, and we'll start doing some demos and things. I'm gonna head over here. So, like I mentioned many times, what's in the box? Some things that you may want that were not in the box. SD cards. So if you're going to use emulators, software emulators, system emulators, game machine emulators, you will probably want SD cards for your disk images and ROMs. USB-C cable, USB-C power of some kind once you're up and running, HDMI cable, some kind of a little display, and you can use, of course, this lovely kit that it comes with, or you can splurge and get a snap-on enclosure. So this is a Ruiz Brothers design. You can download and 3D print this, and I have. In fact, I've got a couple over here that I 3D printed. This is one that's printed overseas commercially. I don't know, with the lighting I've got here, you might not be able to see the little Fruit Jam logo there. But this is, I think, a SLS printed nylon, and it has a really clever on-off switch that redirects the top-mounted on-off switch to the front. So that pops into place, and then you just snap fit this over the Fruit Jam. Here's an example of one that I 3D printed. So you can see there I've got my little on-off switch. If I turn that on and turn on my monitor, you will see the Mac Classic. So I'm going to zoom in just a bit and try to catch that focus. So you'll see here, Mac OS booting up. This is this Fruit Jam right here. Keyboard and mouse. Let that boot. It says may not have been shut down properly last time. Let me unplug and replug my mouse. It looks like it got stuck. I'll restart that. So this one is right now saying 800 by 480 is what it's getting. So that's one of the widescreen ratios that this emulator is doing. All right, let's give it a second, because for some reason it's choking, but that's just live demo voodoo. Not a lot for me to show you on there, other than that it is a running Mac emulator with a few programs on it. I'll move on to this. So this is the Sam Blenny demo right here of a synthesizer. So this, here you can see the logo a lot better. I printed this one with the Fruit Jam logo as a second color. So this Fruit Jam, running CircuitPython, running Sam's code, synth square wave generator, polyphonic. It is hosting over USB, my MIDI controller right here. You might not be able to hear it too well, but I'll turn up this little speaker the best I can. So it's polyphonic, and it's pretty responsive. So I've got this keyboard. We'll just set it as an arpeggiator. All right, so that's the square wave synth. You can see my Mac did, even though it didn't seem to notice my mouse and keyboard for some reason, it did kick into the screensaver, the Flying Toaster's screensaver. I'm just going to try unplugging and replugging the keyboard and mouse to see if that wakes it up. No, I'll give it one more try there while I do other stuff. And then I'm going to switch up the camera view a second here because I want to show you some demos on the big screens here. So let me do a switcheroo up here. I do have one close-up monitor that'll make it a little easier to see things. There you go. So this is a set of 7 fruit jams that I have here plugged in. The 8th input is just a Raspberry Pi background screen. But I can go here and turn on some of the demos. So I'm going to go to, let's do preset 1. So this is, or rather preset 2. So this is Game Boy Advance and, sorry, Game Boy and Game Boy Color, not Advance, Game Boy and Game Boy Color. I've got one of our USB gamepads plugged in here, and I can restart this one. So we go to the menu here. I can pick from any of the Game Boy or Game Boy Color ROMs that I have on my SD card. And this was Pico Peanut GB is the actual emulator here. And sure, Donkey Kong Country, I'll just pick that. What you saw at first was a lock screen, but these also have screensavers that will pick from the metadata that's on the card. This has, Frank implemented these nice borders here that give you either game-related or random borders around the 320 by 320 or 240 by 240, I think, something like that square that the Game Boy and Game Boy Color are. So I won't actually play that there, but there you can see that's Game Boy. If we take a look at the Sega Genesis, which I've demonstrated before on my show, the historically important thing we're looking at right here is Garfield, the Lost Levels. So just, I believe, yesterday or the day before, the Video Game Preservation Society, Video Game Historical Preservation Society, apologies for not getting the name right, worked with, I believe, a former executive from Sega and a archivist who had discovered 100 games that were exclusives for the thing called the Sega Channel, which was a very early downloadable game setup on Sega Genesis. Here is this Lost Levels Garfield. It's gorgeous looking. I've just played it a little bit, but it's interesting because it contains developer notes between some of the screens. It'll talk about what the developers were going for. I don't know if this one was ever released or if they just added some of those notes to it, but it has a sort of a Sonic feel on this first world here, sort of slipping, sliding, looping around, jumping type of thing. So that's Sega Genesis. We've got, of course, Doom, which you saw me playing a little of before. I didn't want to show too much blood splattering, so I didn't actually blow away any imps or anything, but you can see that going on right there. NES is one of my favorites on here. So something that's available, and I hadn't mentioned it before, on the Fruit Jam is we have an I2C Stemma QT port right here, which means you can plug in I2C sensors, accessories, inputs, and one of them is our WeChuck adapter, which allows you to, oh wait, not that one, sorry, this one, allows you to use Wii accessories, the Wii Nunchuck and other accessories, including these little classic controllers. So this is, instead of a USB controller, this is a Nintendo Classic controller plugged in over I2C. For a lot of these, you can do two-player stuff. If you have, I'm just going to immediately die. You can use USB, two USB controllers, or a USB and an I2C. Depends on the emulator. Whoops, I'm just going to go right back in there. So that's the NES, and then I have some non-game stuff on here. So Fruit Jam OS. Fruit Jam OS it's an operating system. Let me see, is this the mouse I have on here? Which mouse? Okay, there's a keyboard I have plugged into here. So I've got the Breakout Game, Chips Challenge, an editor you can go right into, Larzio Paint, IRC Client, Flappy Nyan Cat, and then we can shuffle over to other screens. Pretty cool one on here is this Matrix screensaver that Amberella put together. There's also a more performant Arduino version, but just because I wanted to demonstrate the Fruit Jam OS, I decided to bring this one up. So how cool is that, having the Matrix screensaver at your disposal? I'm not sure actually if, let me see what else I have on here. So since that's a CircuitPython program running, I can, and I've got access to the REPL essentially with this keyboard. Control-C, Control-D will break and restart whatever you were running. There's PyBasic on here. Okay, and that's all I have. But you can add to this, so you can add your own apps to it. All you need is an icon and a little bit of header code, and then the name of the program, and it'll get added into there. And if you watched the show and tell right before this, Cooper was showing another sort of library viewer to automatically grab code from GitHub and build out a more complete library of available Fruit Jam code, which is super exciting. Let's see, what else? Apple II, right there. This runs. I put on in the Learn Guide for the Apple II emulation. There's a nice link to some places to download ROM packages, lots and lots of floppies, all on your SD card, and it will automatically do a sort of screensaver demo of what's on there. So got those nice distinct Apple colors running. I don't know if, I don't have a keyboard and mouse on that one. And then I want to show this one right here is a custom version of Liz's video music app, which, thank you, Liz, for putting this together for me. I didn't have time to put together the real one, which is sound reactive and has controls. So she made a sort of demo mode version, which just cycles between all these beautiful Atari-style graphics, and then the additional bonus of the party parrots. So thanks, Liz, for putting that together. The code is there. Check it out. Build your own stuff, because that is really the whole beauty of the Fruit Jam, is being able to make these impressive yet not overly complicated programs that are responsive and educational and immediately fun, because you can get stuff out there quickly. You can try stuff out. It's distraction-free compared to your computer, so this is a lot of the fun of the Fruit Jam. Let's see. Just because I put this whole monitor wall together and wanted to try neat stuff, there's our Fruit Jam logo and a bunch of Doom, so I'll probably leave it on that. The one other thing I'll show is just some of the, if you look at 8 of these all at once, there's just some of the variety of things that we can do. Hi, it's me. It's some of the variety of the things that we can do with the Fruit Jam, and that's just scratching the surface. All right, let's go back to this, and oh, I got the Mac to run. Of course, let's take a look real quick. Here's our little. I'm gonna try to pick that. Okay, there we go. So here's our Mac Classic running right there. And I can pick from this, let's say, Battle Chess. And there you can see, cool little splash screen. Battle Chess booting up. And I think it becomes 100% cooler if you build the little 3D printed Mac Classic case that the Ruiz brothers put together. So go check out that guide. But here we can go and play a little chess. It's funny to relive the memory constraints of these old computers compared to our modern computing, because if I go here and try to launch another application, it'll probably tell me I'm out of memory and I got to quit battle chess. So it's the good old and bad old days all wrapped up in one, which is pretty neat. All right, let's see. What else? I got to make sure I'm not forgetting any other stuff I wanted to demonstrate or tell you before we wrap this up. So I'm going to check my notes. And I think the IR demo is the last one. Okay, so let me go to this downshooter here. So this, I'll demonstrate it and then I'll show you the code for it just to give you an idea of how easy this stuff can be. This is a Sony TV remote off of one of my little CRTs. If I press the, let me bring me back on here. If I press the volume button, you can see I'm adjusting the number of neopixels visible. If I press the channel button, I can cycle between different colors on there. So that's all infrared. If I cover that, it might not make it through. No, it's infrared. It's bouncing past my thumb and off of the wall. So it's hard to shield it, which is kind of neat. So the code for this, let's jump over to our good friend Zed, and let me bring back the down shooter there so we can see what we're talking about. So this was by Dana K, or Dan Ack. Sorry again. Don't know how to pronounce that. So here we've got importing Adafruit IR remote, as well as board, NeoPixel, and Pulse IO. Setting up just through learning mode what some of the buttons I wanted to use are being decoded as. Setting the board.ir pin, because it's got the built-in receiver. Creating Pulse IO object with that pin, and then a max length, and setting the idle state to true. Using the decoder that's built into IR remote. So CircuitPython makes this easy. I think Lady Ada did the hard work and made this library make it easy to do CircuitPython IR stuff. Number of pixels, NeoPixel, a little state that I'm keeping, and some hue stuff, a debounce so that I don't spam too many IR messages, a little color converter, pixel updater, and then the main loop of this is just simply looking for messages from the IR decoder, and if we get one, do something with it, and that's setting pixels. So that's a neat little example that was in the playground right here. Go back to playground and look at remote control and the power of community. Single page talks about the guide that some of the code came from, was this IR remote receiver guide that Liz put together. And then a little bit about using the community and some ideas of using async IO. So really neat experience to put that together and be able to use a few of the functions on there at once. Todd asks, can you play Doom with the IR remote? I am sure you could come up with a way. Maybe a whole bunch of them at once. Some underexplored, underutilized things on here, I think, are the GPIO pins. I know that some people have had ideas about creating little sort of cartridges that can plug in to do things, displays that might mount on there to make a portable version of something, but there's a lot you can do. There's also a 3-pin JST connector. I don't have any demos with that, but that'll allow you to do 3-pin power ground and an analog or digital in, so you could add a potentiometer very, very easily using that. So debug port is available with a cutout there if you're doing more complicated debugging and coding directly. And that's it. So lastly, I want to thank some people. So it has been, as you know, a haul to get here. So first of all, thank you so much to Lamore and Phil for everything you do, for putting Adafruit together, creating human children, as well as making this product possible, and the new and different version of Adabox that we have now and will be coming in the future amidst all of the tariffs and parts supply issues. Pretty amazing. So thanks to Phil and Lamore. Also, all of the amazing Adafruit people who create code, ship Adaboxes, coordinate things, deal with support. Really a huge team effort. So really proud to be part of this team doing this. Thank you, everyone. And then also some people who particularly contributed to Fruit Jam code. This is, of course, I'm going to miss some names in here, but just to shout out a few people, Jeff Epler, Tim Cox, aka Foamy Guy, Frank Hodemakers, Liz Clark, the Rees Brothers, Ann Barella, Dan Coliano, Melissa LeBlanc-Williams, Sam Blenny, Cooper Dalrymple, Retired Wizard, and Dana Kay, and many, many others. So, and lastly, you. Thank you so much for coming to this. Thank you for subscribing. Again, I know some people have gotten their emails and not received it yet. Maybe there's some people who have not yet received the email, but the team is working to get these out there to everyone as quickly as we can. And stay tuned for the new different versions of Adabox that will be coming in the future. Phil has talked a little bit about that on Ask an Engineer. Keep your ears open. More to come in the future about that. Let's see, before I go, I want to just take a look at the chats because I'm so sorry I neglected them for quite a while there while I was demoing things. Relic SE says, old Dell monitors work great with the Jam. There's 9 of them right there. In fact, I have so many old Dell monitors. So many of them work great. I've mentioned this before on my show. HDMI to DVI cable or adapter is your friend because a lot of those monitors will accept this video, but they don't look like they do. They don't look like they have an HDMI jack. That's okay. Most of the cases, you'll be able to solve it with a cable or an adapter. Oh, someone said that their pre-Adabox Fruit Jam, yeah, the pre-Adabox Fruit Jam didn't have Doom on it. I think it had an Arduino demo that just cycled the rainbow LEDs there. So you can go and check out the Doom guide or link to there from the Learn guide for the unboxing. See. Relic says, everything will run faster on Arduino, but CircuitPython is just more fun. It is very fun. And that was the YouTube chat over in our Discord. Hey, look. There's the Discord right there. Let's see. Quake next? Todd says, I can't believe a little credit card-sized microcontroller can play Doom. Yeah, you know, it's more convenient than running it on your toothbrush. I know people run it on anything with a microcontroller these days, but this is actually pretty plug-and-play because you get to plug in your monitor, keyboard, mouse power. Lizzie liked the flying toasters with the arpeggiator. Some nice, thank you. The video wall would give most corporate conference exhibit booths a run for their money. That was all mostly free stuff that I found. So it was a very low budget and an $80 Extron switcher, which, I mean, you buy 10 or 15-year-old technology pretty cheap. But thank you. Let's see. Lots of tearing on the official Pi HDMI monitor. Yeah, you know, I've had some stuff that just some of these emulators are just not at a resolution that the Raspberry Pi HDMI monitor wants. So you're like I say, your mileage may vary. That little 7-inch one there, and it's linked in a bunch of guides, works pretty well just for at least having something on hand. Root Bear says, I just tried the Mac emulator. It boots, but the mouse and keyboard not recognized. That just happened to me too, twice, and then it did. So I'm not sure what is up with that. It may be mentioned in the guide, so look and see if there's any notes about dealing with mouse and keyboard not being recognized. I seem to remember there was something like the first time you boot, it just doesn't, or something like that. But, lots of others to try out, for sure. Okay, well, let's wrap this up. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming out, and that's going to do it. We did it. We did it together. Thank you, everyone. It was Adabox 22. This was the unboxing. I'm John Park for Adafruit Industries. This has been the Adabox 22 unboxing.